Guys, if there was a zombie apocalypse, what would you do?
I would gather all of my friends and family and find as many guns as possible, and I would go to the military base and I would stay there for 10 years.
Bad answer. Adam?
I would call Obama.
Comment down below what you would do.
Day 1. It began and spread with alarming speed. For years after this day, you and other survivors will try to piece together any and all
Jack, no,
information
this
you
isn't
can
real.
remember.
This is
Figure
what
out
if.
when it happened,
It's gonna be
where,
okay.
even how. Some will think it was another virus flown in on a public airline flight. Others are sure it started right here in the U.S. Yet others think it just happened all over the world all at once. On day 1, chaos reigns in cities around the world. Many people try to flee, only to end up getting stuck in traffic or huge freeway blocking accidents and ending up as zombie bait.
Of course, guys, that's misconception number 1. You don't want to get into a car and try to get somewhere because everybody's going to have that same thought. And then you're going to get trapped in the middle of nowhere and you're not going to know what to do and you're going to get eaten by a zombie.
This is why I've been saving my money to invest into a tank. This way, I can just ride over every other car in my way. I just keep going.
You can buy that?
Sure can.
Where are you gonna park that?
It's on Temu for $15. I've been saving up a couple weeks for that.
I'm in. Take my money.
So
Smart though. You're a devoted infographics fan after all, so you know the best thing to do if you aren't already in the outskirts of the city is to shelter in place.
Knife,
in case of
compass,
nuclear attack,
Exactly.
you want to get as low as possible and take shelter at the very core of a building, far from doors and windows as you can get. However, in a zombie apocalypse, it pays to have the high ground, so you'll enter the nearest high-rise and make your way up as far as you can go. Power will soon fail, and with it, the elevators, which means you'll have to climb dozens of flights of stairs to get up high. But that also means a zombie will too. Barricading every door you come across, any zombie or...
Do you think zombies ever get tired? Like they're on floor like 15, they're like, ugh.
I think that they do. Every zombie show that I watch, they're basically like humans, but with like a super really low metabolism. So I feel like they do kind of get tired.
oh, we'd be fine then. We should just stay in America. No,
Well, you won't be
the
okay,
zombie's
Adam.
gonna get us, right?
Well, you're not very good at stairs either, Adam.
Adam, you have bad knees. Alec and I, on the other hand, will be fine.
You think zombies watch their weight?
Nope.
zombie or hostile group of survivors would have to cross a gauntlet of blocked doors to get to you. And being that high up will help you avoid the attention of both zombies and marauding looters, who might arise with the collapse of civilization. Every office tower in America is going to be stocked with food and water, so you're set to ride out at least a week, maybe 2, as you wait for the events to unfold below you. Maybe this is
Bro,
only a
eat the
local
food in the
event, and
vending
the military
machine.
will soon respond to contain the
They don't
situation,
have money, Adam. They
or
can't get
at
it.
least fly out survivors. Just in case, you make sure to get to the roof of the building and make it clear to any airplanes and helicopters that survivors are inside.
I thought he just said to go into the basement. Why are they on the roof now?
Just for the first 7 days, Adam. So you want to get inside where you're going to be safe, barricade the doors, gather all your supplies, and then you want to get high so that when the military comes around with their helicopters and their planes, they'll know where to find you, and then they'll save you.
Would you guys trust other random people though? Because in every single zombie apocalypse movie or TV show, everyone gets backstabbed. Things get stolen, people get hurt. Would you guys trust other random people?
Do I know these random people?
No, that's why they're called random, dummy.
But have I seen them around?
Like they live in your building, but like you maybe have seen them once, but like you don't know them at all. You don't even know their name. Would you trust them to live on the roof with you with all your belongings?
Maybe for 7 days, yes. But after that, I don't know. We need to establish a hierarchy. Somebody needs to be the leader and somebody needs to be number 2. And somebody after that should be number 3. Maybe have a number 4. We can think about it. And then everybody else is like down at the bottom.
I call number 2.
It's like I'm number 1.
Oh God, we're all dead.
It's over. I'm gonna be a zombie.
SOS, using brightly colored objects looted from amongst the upper floors. Like an ancient king watching a siege of his castle from the tower, you spend the day waiting and watching as the city below you comes apart at the seams. Day 3. As predicted, not a single zombie even attempted to make the climb up to your temporary shelter.
What
Why
is
would
that
they
guy
when the streets
doing?
are still swimming with poorly prepared survivors, trying to make a run
You're
for
dead.
it, or hiding out in bad street-level
Looks like the leader
shelters.
of the zombies.
By now,
They're not
it's
even going
become
after him.
obvious that this is not a local event. This is it, the zombie apocalypse and
The
the end of the
whole
world.
world.
There's been no response from the military, and before the electricity died and your phone with it, the last thing you heard on social media was that the president had declared a state of emergency and taken shelter in an emergency bunker.
Of course
the
he
reason for
did.
no military response is because military bases were as overrun with the Walking Dead as any city. Some areas have been made secure, but there's still far too much chaos to coordinate anything more than local defense. It'll be weeks, maybe even months, before there's any major attempt to lift zombie sieges of the big cities, if it ever happens at all. There's tens of millions of the undead, and their ranks grow with every freshly slain human. You take stock of your food and water. Before the power went out, you filled up every sink, pitcher, container, even the toilets that you could find with fresh drinking water. You need water far more than you need food, though thankfully your food supply is pretty robust.
Well, yeah, you could survive, what, like 30 days without eating, technically?
Yeah, I think so.
Depends how much blubber you got on you, Adam.
That's why I'm stocking up now. I'm trying to blow up like a balloon so I can survive on just water for the next year.
So you're telling me, Alec and Adam, you guys have been preparing for the zombie apocalypse for like a couple years now? That's why you guys have been bulking?
You never know.
Exactly.
You never know when the day could
come.
I like your strategy.
I'd hate to be thin and good looking when the zombie apocalypse comes.
I'm gonna order a Big Mac.
Good idea, Jack.
Done.
America has multiple small kitchens, snack bars, and most even have restaurants. For the moment, food and water won't be your problem, but you can't stay here forever. Use your time wisely, so you set out rain catches on the roof of the building and keep your SOS signal free of any debris to make it clear survivors are inside.
I am not this smart.
They're not
from around
coming.
the office building have joined in with you, and you've got the start of a small group of survivors.
They look way too happy
in a
to be in a zombie
disaster,
apocalypse
it's important
right now.
to keep people occupied so they don't despair or do something stupid. So you take a leadership role and assign people tasks. The first is to fashion some kind of effective weapons and protection.
What is
that? You can take a cue from prison inmates and use duct tape and reams of paper to fashion some pretty sturdy body armor for yourself. Infection spreads via biting.
God, should I be taking notes right now? These are actually kind of good things to do.
I would just look like such a dummy, though, walking around with books strapped to my waist.
I would duct tape the Bible all over me, so I have the Lord and Savior with me.
I have Jesus on my side.
How many Bibles do you think they have?
Every hotel has one.
Noted.
Protection for your arms and legs as well. The armor can make you stiff, so you only make protection for your forearms, thighs, and chest. Just like a real soldier's body armor, you'll have to make sacrifices for mobility. No amount of body armor will stop a swarm of zombies if you're too slow or stiff to sprint or jump to safety.
Touchdown!
You fashion spears out of mops and brooms. These are great because while they won't do much lethal damage to the Walking Dead, they can keep them at bay pretty effectively. Sadly, there's just not much you can use for an effective weapon inside an office tower. What you really need is firearms or melee weapons that pack a punch, like baseball bats and axes. Those will have to wait. For now, it's better to avoid a fight altogether if you can help it. You place people on rotating shifts with frequent checks of the stairways that lead up to your shelter areas. In teams of threes, you start to scavenge the floors below you, being very careful with your progress to make sure you don't run into a situation where you can't quickly escape. There's a few straggler zombies up here, perhaps people who changed when the mysterious phenomenon that started this nightmare struck, and they're easy to eliminate. You aim for the head out of habit from listening to years of popular culture, but the truth is, the rest of the body is as vulnerable too. If you shatter a zombie's leg, it can't stand up on that leg.
Oh, but then you're just gonna make a crawler, and then you're gonna have to worry about the crawler, so just go for the head.
It would be kind of funny if you take all its limbs off, though, and then you just have it chilling, like in the corner of your room, and it just can never move. But it also never dies, so it's always just...
That's what they did in The Walking Dead. The one girl, she made zombie pets, and she chopped off their arms and chopped off their jaws so she couldn't get bit, and then she walked around in disguise.
I could see Adam doing that. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam would end up being like the leader of an entire zombie army.
They would all be limbless.
And Adam is just fully covered in dirt.
He's the only one that could speak their language.
You smash its arm, it can't climb or grab you. And if you break its spine, then it's stuck on the ground for good. Sure, destroying the brain is good, but breaking bones makes it incredibly difficult for a zombie to actually hurt you.
Yeah, stomp his spine.
Though, all you can really do is pin one in place while your buddy stabs it in the head. It's a good strategy for the few you run into
just
in a
doing
tower.
buddy things.
But you know you'll need better weapons to survive in the streets.
Boy
They
just
are
got
so
pinned down.
emotionless
Before the
when they do
electricity
this.
went out, you made sure to
Butcher
plot
knife.
out the location of every gun shop, army surplus store, and police station within a few miles of you. You got a crude map and a plan. You're far ahead of the game versus other survivors.
This is the first thing I kind of disagree with. Why would you go to a gun shop? I feel like that's where pretty much everybody, that's where they would go. So at that point, that's probably where most of the zombies are.
I'm kind of with Adam on this one. I think that you need to make a decision pretty much on day one of the zombie apocalypse. Do you want to go to the gun store and try to fight your way for the gun? Similar to like the start of the Hunger Games, do you run to the center where all the weapons are and risk your life? Or do you run away and just try to find better materials elsewhere?
Yeah, I would definitely go elsewhere. I think if you go to the gun store, the people like that work there or that own the place will probably shoot a lot of other people that are trying to steal their guns. Or they would have taken them all for themselves already. I think that's probably like the most dangerous place to go.
As much as people are nice, as soon as the zombie apocalypse hits, everybody's gonna switch up.
Day 7. Fires started days ago from unattended appliances, car crashes, and other minor
It's
incidents
only day
the
7?
fire department would normally have attended to. However, nobody's putting out the fires, and it's becoming increasingly dangerous to remain in your
That dude needs
tower
a
shelter.
haircut.
Some of the group doesn't want to leave, but you explain to them that if they stay, they will inevitably burn up when the fires reach the building. There's a myriad of underground services and sewage tunnels that crisscross a modern city, and you briefly consider using one of these to get around and avoid zombies. Perhaps if you or anyone in your group actually knew anything about those tunnels, like how to get into them or
That's
where
me.
they go,
I guess I
it
am
might
the
be
leader.
A good idea. The reality is, though, if you don't have the first idea of how to even get into the labyrinth-like maze under your feet, you'll just have to use the streets. The underground
No.
garage has cars, but you have no idea where to find the keys. Besides, cars will draw attention, and it's best to move silently for now. The chaos outside has died down in the last few days, as the zombie all-you-can-eat buffet ran out of easy prey. You consider when to make your move. Daytime will give you much better visibility, but it will also mean the zombies have just as good visibility for you. Instead, you opt to move at night, and make sure everyone is wearing dark clothing. Holding your spears and skirting.
Wait, I'm confused. Yeah, why would you walk around at night? I feel like you can't really see that well at night.
I think they said that it's harder for the zombies to see them as well.
Yeah, but it's harder for you to see the zombies too. You're literally putting yourself in a horror movie.
Imagine you're walking around like Helen Keller out there, and you're just like, lemon.
She was wildly successful. Wait, also, I think you mean Anne Frank.
No, what?
No, I messed that one up.
He said that was Anne Frank, not Helen Keller.
What?
I mixed them up.
Oh my gosh.
Ah, no, Helen.
Are you thinking about Rosa Parks?
Are you just saying women? Do all women just in your mind are just the same person?
No, okay, don't say that. I just mixed those two up, that's all. No.
That was a little girl, Alec.
Wait, Helen Keller was the blind one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Blind and deaf, by the way. She still was able to speak like 8 languages or something.
If you guys want us to react to that baloney, then comment down below.
Just like any predator would, simply following migrating prey. This is a relief to you because if not, the city would be a guaranteed death trap. There is the occasional zombie you stumble into, but it's easy to overpower 1 or 2 of them at a time
Sure.
with your group's long spear.
Sure.
Arriving at the police station, though, it's
That's a
obvious
butcher
others
knife.
have the same idea as you, as it's even been barricaded. You should have known. Luckily, the world hasn't lost all its good people because the survivors let you in. It's not nearly
Really?
as safe as your high-rise tower, despite now having access to a few leftover pistols.
Sus alarm.
But it's a little further away from the encroaching fires. However, it's clear to both you and the survivors already sheltering here that this isn't a place you can stay. Not only is the threat of being consumed by the raging fires growing closer every hour, but if you're going to survive long term, you need renewable food and water, neither of which you can get in the heart of the city. It's clear all of you have to leave, but the question is where? Day 9. After 2 days of deliberating, the group is split on how to proceed. The fires are close now, and you need to leave in the next 24 hours or risk burning to death. One group wants to
Okay.
head toward the nearest military base, hoping it's held out or been reclaimed.
Uh-oh.
This in and of
Smart.
itself isn't a bad idea, but
There's
it
Alex
comes with a
Tank.
pretty big downside. There's bound to be thousands of other people who have the exact same idea, and all you're really doing is fleeing from one large
True.
concentration of people to another, which is exactly what the zombies are also doing. If the base is held, it'll likely be very secure at this point. Shambling zombies are simply no match versus modern military weaponry, but that's a very big if at this point. You've got another idea. You've watched infographics for years, and you know one thing about zombies that nobody else does. Without their hearts pumping warm blood around their bodies, zombies can't handle cold.
Yo.
Is that true?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much like any organism. They slow down when it gets cold. And the zombies, they don't know how to warm themselves up like we do. They don't know how to make fire. They don't really wear clothes. They don't know how to get inside, really. So they'll just be really slow. Yeah, they'll just like start moving real slow and then they'll freeze like a popsicle.
I really don't think a zombie apocalypse would be that bad.
What?
It just depends
they're-
on the zombie. Like, if we're talking Walking Dead zombies, I think it should be relatively easy.
I think they would be like that, but I think if you shoot them in anywhere, they're gonna bleed out and die. I don't understand in real life.
No, they don't bleed out and die, Adam. You see, the brain is the only thing that's functioning in a zombie. They just know that they have to eat. That's it. But everything else doesn't even work. They don't poop. They don't sleep.
That doesn't make any sense. How are they walking then?
What do you mean?
The blood has to flow to the muscles for it to be able to work.
Adam, no. The
What?
blood just goes real slow.
It's called fiction, Adam.
That's what we're talking about real life now. We're talking about real life zombie apocalypse. If you shoot a zombie in the heart, they're gonna bleed out and die.
Adam, I don't think you understand how zombies work. I want to vote Adam not to be the leader anymore.
I concur.
freezing. Even the fastest
question.
zombie is going to be a popsicle. You try to explain that to people that it's no different than sticking a piece of meat in the freezer. but they just don't listen to you. They're sadly too brainwashed from years of characters on
freeze
TV
like me in a
making
freezer.
really stupid decisions during zombie apocalypses and not doing the obvious, heading north. Agreeing to disagree, you decide to part ways. You and your group load up 2 police SUVs with supplies, mostly food, water, and gasoline. You siphon from other vehicles. Surprisingly, there's not much in the way of weapons or ammo left in the police station, probably because the cops who were here when the world went to hell took it with them as they acted on their own survival plans. Your goal is to get out of the city and head north. Survival depends on you getting as far north as you can go. Day 10. Your 2 groups wish each other luck and drive in opposite directions. The streets are a mess, but you manage to navigate past wrecks and small hordes of zombies. You wisely stay off the freeways, as they're bound to be full of traffic snarls and wrecks, and instead stick to surface streets until you can make it out of the city. Day 12. You took a full 24 hours to get out of the city thanks to having to navigate so many potential roadblocks, and there was no stopping your small convoy for anything but refueling. You're taking shifts driving until you're in open country.
Okay.
And today you raided the first gas station you came across for paper maps of the state and the North American freeway system. Your goal is Alaska, and you need to get there before winter comes or you could get...
That's actually a great point. You don't even think about it. Like, we use GPS every single day, so we don't really need physical maps, but if I was in the city and we needed to get somewhere, I'm not the leader. I'm number 4. I don't want to be the leader anymore.
Adam still uses his GPS to get literally 3 minutes down the street, like to get to Wawa.
Yeah, the Wawa is a 3-minute drive. I GPS it.
So you're not our nav guy.
I'm not the nav guy. I guess I could be the leader, but I should have a nav guy.
You can delegate to a nav guy that knows how to read maps.
You're gonna be my intelligence guy, and then I'll have a nav guy. All right, I'm gonna be the leader again. I'm ex-Navy SEAL.
You're tempted to loot some of the big department stores you drive past, but wisely think twice about it. Sure, they're bound to be full of supplies, but also full of zombies. You need to get out into more rural America before you start thinking about looting big box stores that could potentially be full of dozens of zombies. Day 15. You're making much better progress now thanks to your paper maps. You use them to avoid the freeways and use back roads, where the area is so free of signs of the apocalypse that you could almost swear it had never happened at all. But then you inevitably come across a wreck or the signs of a family having been torn apart and eaten by the walking dead. Still, you're out far enough from major population centers, you take the risk raiding a big box store.
Kind of look like
You've been mostly hitting small gas stations and convenience stores, but you really need to up your weapon game, and it would help to get more food supplies.
How are the gas stations
You
still
enter
working?
the building as a team and in formation.
There's gonna be a lot of zombies in there.
You've been drilling like this during your rest breaks.
Why are
One
they
of the
wearing
oldest forms of
tuxedos?
warfare in
Whoa,
the world
whoa!
has come back, and for good reason.
We got
It
the
works.
gladiators back.
Working
Let's go.
together, you present a wall of spears
Those
to
are
any zombie
Spartans.
threat, and
We got the
easily
Spartans
hack them
back.
to
Let's go.
pieces without letting them get near you. Those on the first
genius.
row stick their spears straight out and
We're going
impale
back in
zombies on
time.
them, then step aside so those in the second row can lunge forward and deliver the killing blows with axes, hammers, or similar weapons. It's brutally effective, and you see why the ancients fought like this.
No
the number
emotion.
one rule of zombie warfare is
killing.
to never split up. So while it would be faster for you to investigate the store as teams, you stick together.
I mean, at this point, if they still have brooms, they should all be dead. Like, you gotta upgrade your weapons. They were in a police station.
I know, they couldn't find any guns. Everybody stole all of the weapons.
Yeah, but like, look around them. There's so much steel. Like, grab something steel and start sharpening it. Do something. There's knives in there. There's tools. Duct tape a knife to the edge of the pole at least. Make it sharp. It's a wooden stake.
I agree.
They don't have a good leader. Just keep this in mind when a zombie apocalypse starts. Who had these great ideas?
Adam, I am driving as far away as possible from you if there was a zombie apocalypse. I think the closer I am to you, the likelier I am to die.
No, guys, we gotta group up.
We can group up. I'll group up with you, Jack. I am going nowhere near Adam. Everything he says is stupid.
You guys should try to get to me.
No, you're in the city. That's the worst place to be.
But that's where they started, and these guys are doing just fine.
That's the worst place to be. The most populated spot. That's where all the zombies are gonna come. You are done.
Day 7, we go to the roof and we put SOS on the roof. Are you not following the blueprint?
The best thing to do is go to Alaska.
No, they should go to Hawaii, not Alaska. It's genius.
What about zombie shark, huh? You didn't even think about that.
Not possible. I've seen the movies.
Go back.
Score
Let's
some
get back to these
badly
dummies.
needed camping equipment, a few rifles, and loads of rounds for each. You also get practical survival equipment like fishing poles and lures.
Oh yeah,
You'll need those for
fish.
your new life.
I
in
know
the
how to
cold.
fish.
Yeah,
Speaking
right.
of which, you
And I'm
make
the
sure
president.
to snatch up any cold weather gear and first aid kits you can find. Day 25. You've made decent time despite having to keep off
Big
major
time jump
freeways,
here.
and it's good because fall will soon be here and the first snow falls not long after that. You made it to Canada, where the situation is much the same as the US. This isn't a national crisis, the zombies don't respect any borders. Some of the group want to stop here, where the weather will be a little better than in frozen Alaska, but you know better. Bad weather is exactly why you're going as far north as you can.
Yup.
You need to stay far away from anywhere temperate for at least a year,
Popsicle
maybe 2
zombies.
to be safe. By that time, any reanimated flesh will have fallen apart due to decay, or zombies will simply have been eaten up by wild predators. Humans kinda suck without guns, so predators like bears, cougars, and wolves will be having a field day, gorging themselves on walking corpses.
Ew.
Then a scary
they turn,
thought
though?
hits you.
I guess not.
Nah, I don't think they do.
That'd be crazy. What if you saw a zombie bear?
I'd be so much more terrified if a zombie apocalypse happened to bears.
Animals become zombies too by eating zombie flesh, or perhaps by getting bit while taking a zombie down. The thought of a zombie
not a zombie bear,
sends a chill
no!
down your spine
Nope.
And
Nope.
reinforces your decisions.
Nope.
I'm
You're
good.
going to Alaska for 2 years minimum. After that, nature should have run its course, and there shouldn't be many, if any, zombies left. You continue siphoning gas from vehicles you come across, and
That's a very good point. They said only 2 years because eventually the zombies will run out of things to eat. They can't grow crops. They can't farm animals. They're going to die from starvation. Boom.
Adam, but you don't understand. There's 7 billion people, maybe 8 billion now. I don't know. I don't keep track of the numbers, but there's billions of people on planet Earth. Imagine there's 8 billion cheeseburgers walking around just waiting to be eaten. It's gonna take you more than 2 years to eat all of those. It could take 4, maybe 5. It could take up to 10 years for the zombies to eat all of the people. And they can also eat animals too.
You got it all wrong, Jack, because you're not understanding that when you eat one Big Mac, now that Big Mac is also eating other Big Macs. It multiplies. Every person that you eat turns into a zombie. So eventually there's gonna be 7 billion zombies. They got nothing left to eat, so they're all gonna die.
Can they die of starvation?
Yes!
Is
Not
that
in
true?
the movies. Not in
That's
the movies. They
law
don't
of
die of starvation.
thermodynamics. It's energy.
the trip. You don't know how many vehicles you'll encounter in rural Alaska, so you'll need plenty of gas for the future. In a dry, cool environment, gasoline can last for a few years before going bad due to oxidation, so you should be fine storing it even over the winter. You do pick up plenty of fuel stabilizer, though, from gas stations and mechanic shops you run across, as you'll need it for storing gasoline long term. You also grab spare tires. There's a very real risk of tire rot while vehicles are kept in storage. Just ask the Russians inside Ukraine. Day 40.
Will do.
The journey's been a lot slower than it would normally be using freeways, but you've managed to beat the winter to Alaska. Now it's a matter of finding a good place to shelter. Luckily, coastal Alaska is full of a lot of small resort communities or clusters of cabins for tourists to rent during the spring and summer. And the coastal waters off of Alaska are rich in all kinds of edible sea life. There's rivers everywhere, which are also teeming with fish. It's the last truly untouched place in North America, and life is abundant here. You pick a small cluster of cabins on the coast, not too far from a river. Using a tourist attraction map you can find in most motels or gas stations. You also pick up plenty of canned goods that you can add to your sizable stockpile in the back of both SUVs. You never hunted before, and the last time you went fishing, you were a kid. It's going to be a huge learning curve, but one that you can pick up with time. Until then, you're going to have to supplement your diet with canned goods, especially during the long, freezing winter. Humanity has thrived in every environment on Earth except Antarctica for thousands of years, though. You come from one of the greatest survival success stories in history, even if modern living has dulled your edge. If your ancestors could do it, though, so can you, especially with the help of modern rifles and fishing poles. As far as the zombie threat, not only is your location remote, but as predicted, when the temperature falls, the zombies you do come across in supply and scouting runs all start to slow down. Without warm blood coursing through their veins, the zombies get gradually stiffer and stiffer as the temperature plummets, and killing them is easy as smashing them into bits while they try to lunge at you in slow motion. It's gonna be tough surviving up here in Alaska, but if anything ends up eating you here, it's gonna be a bear, wolves, or Bigfoot.
No, those are people
definitely
now,
not
right?
a zombie. Now check out you.
Wait, he did a plot twist at the end there. What?
Well, I think we learned some valuable lessons. I think after we wrap this up, I'm gonna head up to my roof and I'm gonna put SOS on my roof, just in case. You never know. I'm gonna go do that.
If you guys enjoyed that video and you want to see more just like it, then click right here.